Today is one of those big days in life. Today, I'll finish crossing a bridge I first stepped onto 3 years ago. 3 years of my life. 3 years of change, 3 years of growth. 3 ways. Mentally, physically, emotionally. 3 years on that bridge. Who was it that stepped onto that bridge with me 3 years ago? Was it the young men and women I see in front of me here today? I don't remember any of them being there with me that day. I moved to Freehold a few weeks before 6th grade began, not knowing a single person at DGE. I took my first step onto that bridge alone, with my leg invisibly shaking, not knowing where it would take me. Would I make any friends? Even one? Would I ever succeed at what seemed like unattainable dreams? Would I ever become like one of those impossibly tall, oh so worldly 8th graders I saw in the halls? No way. Definitely not. I was just an 11-year-old kid and they were teenagers. I met my teachers, and I met my fellow small and equally uninformed 6th grade colleagues. I knew that unlike me, most of these kids knew each other from elementary school. Still, there was a comfort in knowing we were all in uncharted territory here, regardless of how many familiar faces we were or weren't surrounded by. The school was tremendous. Its hallways confusing, and we didn't have nearly enough time to navigate this labyrinth. There were millions of clubs and extracurriculars and their accompanying interest meetings. How could we be expected to remember all these things without our parents getting a flyer in our folder? And we're now expected to remember 8 teachers per day? Don't even get me started on day 1 versus day 2. This was going to be impossible. I arrived at my first tower of the seemingly endless bridge. The teachers were our guides here, and this wasn't their first year of terrified rookies. They challenged us to work together. They involved everyone in the lessons, and they split us into groups. And what do you know? Our little groups led to little friendships, and little friendships led to big friendships. Some of those, with any luck, will be lifelong friendships. The second bridge tower came into view. At this point, we were 7th graders. We knew the school, we knew the shortcuts to the STEAM Center, we knew which cafeteria items should be embraced and which should be avoided. We were so much wiser than the minuscule 6th grade versions of ourselves we had been not so long ago. Though we weren't yet the kings and queens of Eisenhower Middle School, at least we were no longer the babies. We now had our friends and we knew which clubs we wanted to join. We were feeling pretty darn good. And then we hit a big red sign on the bridge. Detour, virtual learning. That detour was a doozy. Obviously, there are worse things about a pandemic than having to stay home all the time. But I think I speak for most teenagers when I say that for us, the worst thing about a pandemic is having to stay home all the time. We were like caged animals. Honestly, though, it is very hard to love school when the things you love most about school are taken out of the equation. We didn't see our friends, we didn't see our teachers. We missed out on our sports seasons and our beloved school musical. And the graduating class of 2020 didn't have the blessing of being where we all are right now, at an in-person graduation ceremony, surrounded by friends and family. Virtual learning was a tough situation to be thrust into, but luckily our school community did their best to make it a smooth transition. That third and final tower of the bridge was one we didn't arrive to alone. As 8th graders, we came back to Eisenhower's welcoming yet safely socially distant halls with a bounty of friends we had made those first 2 years. We were now the student government leaders. We were the captains of our sports teams. We were now the drama e-board representatives. The 6th graders now looked at us as the oh-so-worldly 8th graders. It wasn't long before it occurred to us, this bridge wasn't endless, not even close. The end existed, and when we got there, it would be time to split down several different paths for high school. When I wondered, on my first day of 6th grade, whether I'd ever get to be like one of the 8th graders I looked up to so much, and doubted that possibility, I was right. I didn't turn out like one of them. None of us did. This girl, who started 6th grade with no familiar faces, turned out to be the student-elected president of the National Junior Honor Society and the lead in our amazing musical, We Will Rock You. Some of you turned out to be the captains of our school athletic and academic teams, talented members of the drama company, beautiful songstresses from Stardust, and jukebox rockers. You became better artists, mathematicians, and essayists. The list goes on. We became who we are here today so that we're better prepared for who we're going to be tomorrow. We stepped onto this bridge 3 years ago as children. The hard work of Eisenhower's wonderful teachers and staff, coupled with the unending love and guidance of our parents and guardians, were the bridge's foundation, and their passion and imagination were the bridge's suspension cables. We traveled together, under their caring and watchful eyes, to arrive at this moment today, as young men and women. Before I draw to a close, I have a challenge for all of you. The next time you take a terrifying first step, remember where this one brought you. The next day you find yourself saying, I don't think I can do this about something. Remember all that the Eisenhower teachers who knew you could do anything. To my friends, the graduating class of 2021, we've been given the tools we need to make the most of even the most difficult journey. And we'll all succeed as long as we remember the lessons we've learned here. You have been wonderful and supportive travel companions, and there is no one I would have rather taken this journey with. I wish you every good fortune in all of your future first steps. Congratulations, class of 2021.